Welcome back from the ad break, and let's continue with our lesson. We were investigating some geometric patterns, so let's continue with that. The one that we've got here says the pictures below are made by shading the blocks. So we are going to look at the picture. The first picture has some few blocks shaded in. How many blocks do we have there? We have 5 blocks that are shaded in. The second picture, we have 10 blocks that are shaded in, and the third picture we have 17 blocks that are shaded in. So can we see what is going on here? Because the first question requires us to continue the pattern for the next 2 terms. So if you look at this pattern that is going on there, we've got here 2 blocks multiplied by another 2 blocks, and then we just add that 1 block there. And if you notice, that is the same thing that is happening, and we add the 1 block there. We've got 3 multiplied by 3 and then the 1 block there. And again, we've got there 4 multiplied by 4 and then we add the 1 block there. So what is the next pattern going to look like? Yes, we are going to now have 5 blocks, and we are multiplying that with another 5 blocks, and we are adding 1 more. And what do you think the next one is going to look like? If we go to the next one, there it is, and we can see that across there we have 6 blocks, and we are multiplying that with 6 blocks, and we are just adding that 1 up there. So how did you decide on the pattern for the next 2 pictures? It's because we look at the diagrams and we see a pattern, what is going on, for us to get the next terms. So let's see how we can represent these geometric patterns in tables and algebraically. So looking at the same pattern that we were working with, remember those were the shaded blocks, and we already continued with the next 2 pictures. So what we're going to do now is to represent these pictures in a table. So as we can see, the first picture there has 5 blocks, and remember how we figured out the 5 blocks? It was 2 multiplied by 2, and we add the 1 there, and that is 5 blocks. Then we have 3 multiplied by 3 plus 1, and that is 10 shaded blocks. That is 4 multiplied by 4. We add 1, that is going to be 17 shaded blocks. 5 multiplied by 5, and plus the 1, that is going to be 26 shaded blocks. And lastly, we have the 6 multiplied by 6. When we add the 1, that is going to give us 37 shaded blocks. So what about algebraically? As we are looking at that same table that we filled out, but now we've broken down our numbers. Remember, it was 5 for the first one there, and we've broken down the 5 into 4 plus 1. Why? Because we noticed that 4 is actually 2 squared, and then we just add 1. Remember how we went 2 blocks across and 2 blocks down, so that is 2 multiplied by 2, which is 2 squared. We look at the next one. Remember, it had 10 shaded blocks, and that was 3 multiplied by 3 plus 1, which is 3 squared plus 1. And then we had 17 shaded blocks for the next one, which would be 4 multiplied by 4, and that is, when we add 1, that is 17. So what was going to happen for the next one, the next 2 that we drew actually? Remember, that was the 25 plus 1, which gave us the 26 shaded blocks, and that came from us saying 5 squared plus 1. And then again, we had 36 plus 1, which gave us 37 blocks, and that came from 6 squared plus 1. So what about the nth term, meaning the general term, the one that will work for all the numbers? Now, if we are looking at the number that we are squaring, and we are comparing it with the term number, we can see the term number is 1 there, but we are squaring the 2. The term number is 2 there, but we are squaring the 3. The term number is 3 there, but we are squaring the 4. So we are adding 1 to the term number, and then we square that number, and then with all of them, we are simply just adding 1 to the answer. So what does this mean? Whatever number is going to be here, we are going to take that number, we are going to add 1. And with those 2 added together, we are going to square the result, and from that, we are going to add 1. And that is what we've been doing all along with these numbers. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one here, we've got matchsticks there. And in the first pattern, which is this one over here, we are going to look at the horizontal sticks, the vertical sticks, and the slanting sticks. So with the horizontal sticks, it's the one down here, and that is just one stick there. And that's the one where it comes from. Then we have the vertical sticks, which is one stick here and another stick there, and that is where the 2 comes from. And when we look at the slanting sticks, that is one stick there and one stick there, and that is where the 2 sticks come from. In total, we have there 5 sticks. So when we look at the next one, the horizontal sticks there are 2 of them. The vertical sticks, 1, 2, 3, that is 3 of them, and the slanting sticks, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is 4 of them. Together, that gives us a total of 9 sticks. With the next one, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 for the horizontal. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the vertical, and for the slanting, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in total, that gives us 13 sticks. So moving from one pattern to the next, we can already tell what the next pattern is going to have. So when we look at the horizontal sticks, it's 1, 2, and 3. So the next one will have 4 horizontal sticks. When we look at the vertical pattern, the vertical sticks, the first one had 2, the next one 3, the next one 4. So the next one is going to have 5 vertical sticks. And with the slanting, we had 2. And the next one we had 4, and the next one we had 6. So now we are adding 2. So the next one is going to have 8. And in total, that is going to give us 17 sticks that make up the 4th pattern. So what is happening here? With the nth term, we can see that the number of horizontal sticks are the same as the number of the term that we are going to be dealing with. So for the nth term, that is going to have n number of sticks. When it comes to the pattern and the vertical sticks, we can see that we're just adding 1. So that is going to be our n plus 1. And when it comes to the term number with the slanting sticks, we can see that we are just multiplying by 2. So that is going to be there 2n. And all of that added together is going to be n plus 1 plus 2n. And that is going to be for our nth term. Let's conclude with the last concept here, and that is solving problems. So looking at this pattern here, we have 2, 5, and 10. The difference there is 3, and the difference there is 5 between those 2 terms, and the difference there is 7 between those 2 terms. So we can see that the difference between the differences is 2. So now it's the second difference that is constant and not the first one. But what is the relation between the term number and the term itself? So when I am looking here at the 2, which is the first term, I can see that 2 is 1 plus 1, right? So when I look at the 5, I can see there that the 5 is actually 4 plus 1. Now, I'll tell you why I'm choosing the 4 now. But when I look at the 10, again, I am seeing a pattern that is 9 plus 1. And again, when I look at the 17, I can see that the pattern there is 16 plus 1. So what is happening here? How does it relate to the term number? So with the first term, we can just say there it's 1 squared plus 1. Because 1 squared is 1, and when we add 1, the answer there is 2. What about the next one? That is 2 squared plus 1. And the next one there, the third term is 3 squared plus 1. And the fourth term is 4 squared plus 1. So what does this tell us about the algebraic equation for this pattern? We can see that for us to get the nth term, we're just going to take the term number, square it, and then we are going to add 1. And that is our pattern for this sequence, or our formula for this pattern, sorry. Then when we look at the next one, we have 640, and then we have 320, and then we have 160. What is the relation between these numbers? Because now we need to find the next 3 terms. So if you can see correctly here, from 640 to 320, that is actually now half. So we are taking 640, and if I divide it by 2, or if I multiply it by 1/2, then it gives me 320. So from there to there, we are actually multiplying by 1/2. And when I go to the next one, you can see that 160 is actually half of 320. So we are still multiplying by half. So what is going to be the next 3 terms? That is going to be, what is half of 160? If you are thinking of 80, you are absolutely correct. And when we take 80 and divide that by 2, that is going to be 40. And when we take the 40 and divide that by 2, that is going to be our 20. And of course, we know that that pattern can continue indefinitely. Let's look at the last question for solving problems, and that is, we are given a formula and we are supposed to find the first 3 terms as well as the 30th term. So we have the n squared plus 3. So since we are working with the first term, that is going to be 1 squared plus 3. And 1 squared is 1. When we add that to 3, that is going to give us an answer of 4. Then we look at the second term. That is going to be 2 squared plus 3. So 2 squared is 4. And when we add 3, that is going to be 7. Let's look at the third term. That is going to be 3 squared plus 3. Now 3 squared is 9. And when we add 3 onto that, that is going to be our 12. And lastly, now we are looking at the 30th term. So we are going to take 30, we're going to square it, and then we are going to add 3. So 30 squared is 900. And when we add 3 to that, that means our answer is going to be 903. That is it for our lesson today. I hope you enjoyed it. I really did too. We hope to see you next time. Goodbye.